Tomatoes can be easy to grow in Florida, as long as you're choosing the right varieties and planting them at the right time. Not all tomatoes are built for our climate. We have a pretty unique climate here in Florida. I've been gardening in Florida for a little over 10 years now, and I found that there's a lot of right choices for tomatoes, but there's a lot of wrong choices as well. We're looking for tomato varieties that are resistant to both wilt and blight. You can find these a lot of times on seed packets labeled by the letters F, V, and EB. Let's start by talking about some of my favorite tomato varieties here in Florida. We're going to talk about 6 of them. The first variety that we're going to talk about, it's actually a tomato that was developed out of the University of Hawaii in the 1960s. It's called the Coelho tomato, named after the Coelho Basin in Honolulu. It's specifically bred to handle tropical conditions like we have here in Florida. It's resistant to wilt, gray leaf spot, and a big one, root knot nematodes, which is a huge issue here in Florida. But there's a couple tricks besides choosing a good variety that will help you out with this. I'll talk about it a little bit later in the video. So now let's talk about a tomato kind of on the polar opposite side of things. It's a smaller tomato and has a much more unique flavor profile. It's another heirloom type tomato, but this one is a cherry tomato. I love the color of this one. Super unique. It's a brown, purplish, dark black almost color to the tomato. Along with its unique color comes a really unique taste. They're really sweet and kind of complex, having this earthy smokiness to them. This tomato is called the black cherry tomato. It's a relatively new tomato that became popular in the early 2000s. It's indeterminate type tomato that has good resistance to disease and wilts and pests and whatnot. But let's say that you really, really like the color and flavor profile of this tomato, but you just want it a little bit bigger. We have a great option for that. It's a tomato that actually originated out of Russia, and it's named after a singer, an actor, and a civil rights activist. This tomato is called the Paul Robeson tomato. This tomato was brought to the Americas in the 1990s by the Seed Savers Exchange, who they got seeds directly from the tomato's creator from Russia, and her name was Marina Danilenko. I think I said that right. My Russian's not very good. The tomatoes themselves are typically about a half a pound to a pound in size, so much, much larger than the black cherry tomatoes, but they come along with the same color and flavor profile, which is super cool and unique. And even though it was created in Russia, it still does extremely well in our tropical to subtropical environment here, having a lot of resistance to disease and pest issues. All right, the next tomato still originated from overseas. It's actually a French heirloom tomato, and it has a unique color as well, but it's a different unique. It's got this golden, yellow, orangey color, and it's super cool. One of my new favorites. Not only is the color a lot brighter, but the flavor is a lot brighter. Definitely more acidic, a little bit citrusy, not as earthy or smoky as the last two. This tomato is called the Yellow Flame tomato, and it was commercialized in 1997 by the Tomato Grower Supply Company. It's an indeterminate tomato, and it makes tomatoes that are about 4 ounces in size, so about 1/4 pound. I grew a few of these plants about a year ago and fell in love. The tomatoes themselves are surprisingly meaty for a smaller tomato. The texture is one of the coolest things about them. I first found these seeds from the good people at Seed the Stars. They're a local Florida company that grow plants here and save seeds and sell them to us. They're an awesome group. I'll put a link to them in the description. If you've been watching any of my videos, the next 2 tomato plants are probably going to be familiar to you. And this one is probably my all-time favorite because of how easy it is to grow. It literally grows like a weed. It's named after an area in Florida, and it's known for its ability to outgrow almost any issue that is thrown at it. It has exceptional heat tolerance, and it makes loads of tomatoes. They're dime-sized, little sweet acidic tomatoes. It was actually one of the ones I ate at the beginning of this video. It's the Everglades tomato, a truly wild tomato. They were found growing naturally in the harsh subtropical environment of the Everglades. I've heard so many gardeners say they planted this plant once and it just continues to reseed itself year after year. It's awesome. I'm actually growing 2 right now. Neither of these are hooked up to irrigation. I regularly forget to water them. They maybe get watered once a week, and they don't seem to care at all. They're making tomatoes. They look happy. They look healthy. It's also in the middle of January. We're in a cold spell right now. So, and at night it's getting down into the low 40s, sometimes the upper 30s. They are just still trucking along. making new fruits, actually. We've got green tomatoes on all of these plants. They are super cool. I highly recommend growing an Everglades tomato if you've never tried it before. Okay, the sixth and last tomato variety on this list is great for gardeners with limited space. This is the terminate tomato, which means it's only going to grow to a set size. It's not going to grow wild. So if all you have is a porch or a little balcony, this is a great option for you. These plants will max out at about 4 to 5 feet in height, and they make tomatoes that are about 6 ounces big, and they are super uniform. They're all relatively the same color and size, which is kind of neat. Makes it easy for things. This tomato is actually developed in the University of Florida in the 70s, and it was bred for disease and heat resistance. The name of this tomato is the Floridade tomato. They even got Florida in the name. Okay, but these are my current 6 favorite tomato varieties to grow in Florida. There's definitely a lot of other great options. If you have a favorite that I didn't mention, please put it down in the comments below. Let's let some other gardeners know about other great tomato varieties to grow here in Florida. Also, I put together a tomato pack dedicated to Florida gardeners. It currently has 8 different varieties of tomato that are known to grow well here in Florida. I'll put a link for that in the description as well. But choosing the right variety is only step 1. We still need to figure out the perfect time to get these into the ground. In North Florida, we do have to worry about the cold actually killing our plants. But in most of Central and all of South Florida, really what we're worried about is the intense heat taking out our plants. I've had heat and humidity kill way more tomato plants than any cold ever has. Tomatoes do really well when they're transplanted into the garden. They start off as kind of slow growers, so it's really good to plant them earlier in the season in a protected area. I actually bought this really cheap setup off of Amazon. It's like a $40 greenhouse stand with lights that are probably around $40 as well. And you can fit a surprising amount of plants on that thing. I'll put links to those in the description if you're interested as well. But highly recommend starting tomatoes as transplants. So when do we actually do this? Well, it kind of depends on what part of the state you're in. I like to break the state down into 3 different sections: North, Central, and South. In North Florida, the best time to start your seeds as transplants is in February, and then again in July and August. In Central Florida, the best time to start your tomatoes as transplants is mid-December to early January. And then you have another chance in August and September. And in South Florida, the best time for you to start your seeds is anywhere from mid-August to early January. So you guys in South Florida have the biggest window to plant tomatoes. The idea here is to give your tomatoes about 6 to 8 weeks of growing time before they go into the garden. I prefer to start our seeds into soil blocks. I will probably never change the way I do that. After using them, I found that they're just by far the best way to start seeds for me personally. But if you're using the classic like 72 cell trays to start your seeds, you will have to pot up at least once in that time frame. You want your tomatoes to be growing in either like a red solo cup or like a 4-inch square pot before they're in the garden. The best time to know when to plant your tomato transplants into the garden is by checking your area's average last frost date. This is the last day that your area typically has any chance of getting cold weather, or at least cold enough weather that will damage your plants. The site I like to use is Plant Maps. It's got a lot of really good information on there. Not just frost date information, but a lot of other information for us Florida gardeners. I've got a few other really quick, helpful tips to make it even easier for us to grow tomatoes here. And the first one is about fertilizer. There's a ton of different fertilizers out there, but the best one for tomatoes is one that has a higher number of phosphorus. That's the middle number in the NPK value on your fertilizer bags. Phosphorus is really what helps plants produce flowers and fruit set. And we want a lot of tomatoes, so that's what we're looking for. Nitrogen and potassium are important as well, but it's okay if those values are a little bit lower. There's a ton of fertilizers out there that are specific to tomatoes. I'll put a couple on the screen so you can see some of the most popular ones out there. I've used them all. I don't really have a favorite. I just look for a nice, good organic fertilizer that has a higher phosphorus number, usually dedicated specifically for tomatoes, and that will work on tomatoes, also eggplants or peppers as well. Something else along the lines of fertilizer that I found that really has benefited my tomatoes is by using a calcium spray for them. Calcium has really helped eliminate blossom end rot for me. The best way that I've found to do that is to actually take some eggshells and crush them up and soak them in vinegar for about a week. And now you have a calcium infused concentrate. You can take that and super dilute it down into water. I'll typically use 1 teaspoon of that to 1 gallon of water and use it as a foliar spray on my tomato plants. I've noticed it has really helped the health of my tomatoes. This wouldn't be a complete tomato growing video if we didn't talk about pests. Pests can be super annoying. Things like aphids and whiteflies are really common on tomato plants, but those are pretty easily handled. As long as you catch them early, you can just squish them with your finger, as long as you're not squeamish. Another one that's pretty common is the tomato hornworm. They do a pretty good job of camouflaging in your plants, and they can eat a ton of plant material in a relatively short amount of time. Hand picking is the way I prefer to handle those. I'll just feed them to our chickens. But if you don't want to hand pick them, BT is a good organic spray that helps with all caterpillars, but it doesn't just choose the bad caterpillars. It's going to also hurt the good caterpillars, which is why I'm trying to eliminate all spraying in the garden. If I have a severe issue, an infestation, I'll use a spray. But for the most part, what I'm trying to do is plant more things in the garden. Things like herbs and flowers that are going to draw good bugs into the garden. There's actually more good bugs than there are bad bugs. So basically, the more life you can attract to the garden, the better off you're going to be. Some of the best flowers to plant in your garden that will help with pests, and specifically some things that will help with nematodes, are marigolds, sweet alyssum, sunflowers, cosmos, and sorghum. And marigolds are the one thing that will definitely help with nematodes. But you can't just plant them into your garden and have that eliminate nematodes. What you actually have to do is plant them in your garden and use them as like a chop and drop. So plant them, let them grow, cut them down, and work them back into your soil. That plant material will begin to break down. And after maybe 2 seasons of doing that, you will definitely notice a diminished population of root knot nematodes. While we're talking about pests, there's a lot of them here. I actually did a more in-depth video about handling pests specifically in Florida. I'll put it on the screen somewhere here. Check that out. It's going to help you not only with your tomatoes, but all of your garden and help you really grow more food. And again, like I said, I built a tomato pack specifically for Florida gardeners. I'll put that in the description below. I really hope this video helped, and have a good day.